Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It is that time of the month again where we are revisiting where we're at in my makeup rehab series. I am going to try and film my makeup rehab updates around the 11th or 12th of every month, because at that point in time I have updated the majority of my project pans, so that way I won't spoil any empties or anything like that. So if you missed it, I did post a recap of my May beauty haul because I purchased a lot in May and I was doing so well in May, the beginning first few weeks of the month. I hadn't purchased anything, but then the last couple of weeks it went very much downhill. It was another month Sephora VIP sale hauling essentially. So I have a ton of products to talk to you about today, and we will get into how it is affecting my rules in my makeup rehab series. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content or just chit-chatting about makeup, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. All right, guys, before we get into it, I did dye my hair last night, and inevitably I always have hair dye. I'm sorry. Oh, and I have a pretty dramatic eye look on, which is kind of making me a little self-conscious. I wanted to play with the blue shadows in my Too Faced Italian Spritz palette because I'm getting ready to review this in my mid-year, ranking all the palettes I've tried so far this year. That being said, I tried to do false lashes, and sometimes false lashes it looks worse because I'm so bad at putting them on. So you know what, I'm okay with it. We got a dramatic eye look. It might look like I have no lashes, but whatever. It is what it is. We will first get into the rules that I set for my makeup rehab series this year. I think this is my third or fourth year doing this beauty budget style makeup rehab low buy challenge situation, and every year I change the rules up a little bit, and I've been having so much fun with this project, if you will, this year. So we'll get into the rules, and then as always I start by sharing any PR that I received this month, which I have a few products. Then I talk to you about any palettes that came into my life this month, and then we get into all of my purchases and all of my empties. So let's get into my rules. This year, my overarching year-long rules are that I was starting with a beauty bank of 20 products. Every single product that I purchase is -1 against my beauty bank, and every empty is +1 to my beauty bank. This is the lowest I've ever started my beauty bank at. In years past, I've done 30 as well as 36 products. So 20 products. PR this year, I have been counting against my beauty bank. So if I receive a PR product and I decide to keep that in my collection, that goes against my beauty bank. In years past, I didn't count PR against my beauty bank, but really the point of this project for me is just to have less makeup in my collection. So if I'm not counting PR, it's a little counterproductive for me and my collection and my project. Also, any free gift with purchase, or my sister and I always trade makeup, anything that I would reclutter into my collection counts against my beauty bank. I am on a year-long mascara no buy as well as an eyeshadow primer no buy, and the last month I also added that I wanted to be on a primer no buy for the rest of the year. I accidentally broke that a little bit. We'll get into it. And then 1 month in every quarter of the year. So once every 3 months, I need to do a full month-long no buy. So for April, May, June, I did make purchases in April and May. So June needs to be my no buy month to complete this part of the challenge to myself. I decided to do quarterly rules as well, just as an additional challenge. I'm a super competitive person, so little challenges I just absolutely love. So I couldn't help myself. So this quarter's rules are that each month that I am purchasing, I can only make 1 purchase from Sephora and 1 purchase from Ulta in that given month. And the reason I set this rule for myself is I find myself scrolling through, the Sephora app or the Ulta app at night and purchasing a product here or there, or I would go in, there's an Ulta by where I work. I would go into Ulta before or after work and just make a willy-nilly purchase here or there. So I really wanted to build a cart if I really wanted products, think about the purchase that I wanted to make, and kind of go from there. Spoiler, I did make a very large Ulta purchase this month, but I had so many Ulta points saved up that I didn't spend a lot of money on makeup this past month, but I brought a lot of makeup into my collection. But I was successful in only placing one Sephora as well as one Ulta purchase this month. Another rule is that I must finish 5 products after the Sephora VIB sale to purchase in May, which I did do, and now we're going into June, which needs to be my no-buy month, so this rule doesn't really apply anymore. But rule number 3 is that I am on a 3 out, 1 in lip product bank, if you will. Last month I had 6 lip product empties, so my like lip bank I could bring into lip products. We're in the negative in my lip bank now for this quarter, which we'll get into, but whoops. 3 bronzers max is, I only wanted to bring in 3 bronzers to my collection this quarter. Inevitably, I've found that the months of April, May, and June are months that I am more inclined to purchase bronzer. And in years past, I would purchase like 5 bronzers in like a 3-week span. And it's like, okay, we don't need to be doing that. Up until the month of May, I had purchased 1 bronzer, and actually one of the makeup products that I received in PR is a bronzer. So I will be at 2 of my 3 bronzers that I've allotted myself, and actually I shouldn't be purchasing in June. So I should exceed this goal and only bring 2 bronzers into my collection in this quarter. I'm so proud of that. And then the last rule is definitely broken. There's no coming back from it, but I was on a 2 out, 1 in foundation situation. I had half a foundation credit. I did finish a 2nd foundation this past month, so technically I would have been at 1 foundation credit, but I brought 4 in. I'm going through like changes in just like my skin and like what I like that's sitting on my skin and whatnot. So a lot of the foundations I used to love, I haven't been loving anymore. So I really don't feel that guilty about like trying to find foundations that work for my skin now, because I'm not feeling pretty in some of my other foundations. And it's like, okay, well then what's the point? So those are the yearly rules as well as this current quarter's rules. As always, I'm going to start with PR. I have 3 products to share with you. I will leave timestamps down below in case you're not interested in any specific portion of this video. One other rule for my beauty bank, my personal beauty bank, is that eyeshadow palettes do not count as a beauty product or as a negative to my beauty bank. I love testing eyeshadow palettes. I love new eyeshadow palettes. I love making palette content. So that is one area of my makeup collection that I don't want to restrict. Although I will say I'm feeling incredibly overwhelmed by my palette collection right now. And I will be doing a like mid-year palette collection declutter. And I'm hoping to kind of get rid of a good chunk of palettes, like older ones in my collection. Because I also feel like my preferences in eyeshadow are changing, and I have a lot of old palettes that have just been lingering in my collection that I'm not excited for anymore, and I'm just excited by new, pretty, different color stories when it comes to palettes. So I'm rambling at this point. The PR that I received this month, I received a package from Merit Beauty. I have 3 products from them, and so they sent over this compact, which, let me tell you, this is like a heavy compact. Like I would say this has to be at least 1 to 2 pounds. I don't typically carry a compact mirror with me or anything, but this is really handy. I feel like this would be great for travel. It's really heavy, really sturdy, and it's really cute. On the back it says "on my way." I don't know, I think this is actually really cute, and I'm happy to have this in my beauty tool collection. And then I got to pick the other 2 products that they sent my way. So I was really curious about the Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. This will not count as a makeup product. I'm counting this more as a skincare product. I've been using this in the mornings. I always forget that my makeup rehab series is not meant for like reviews, and inevitably I can't stop talking about the products. It's a really glowy, like thin serum, but it's not like a glow that sticks around by any means. I wouldn't purchase this, like I wouldn't go out and repurchase this, but it's been nice. It's been nice because my skin is super dry and it just feels like a nice, refreshing drink on my face in the morning. And then the other product, I was so excited because I have been wanting to try this for so long. This was in my Sephora VIB sale. Like, shop with me cart is something I was considering purchasing, and I've heard nothing but great things about the Merit Beauty bronzing stick. I got mine in the shade Clay. looks like this. I have not yet tried this on my face, so I need to get around to doing that, but I'm super excited about this. From what I've heard, it's definitely more of like a natural bronze, but if I'm going to like lay by the pool or just going for a walk and just want to add like a little warmth to my face, I feel like this would be perfect. So very excited about that. This one will count against my beauty bank and will also count as a bronzer I'm adding to my collection. So that was all of the PR that I received last month. Now we will get into the eyeshadow palettes that I purchased this past month. So I have two from Natasha Denona. First, from Ulta, I decided to toss this into my cart just because there was a coupon and I had a ton of Ulta rewards points to use up. So I decided to finally get the Natasha Denona Glam Palette. I feel like I have been, like, I go back and forth on this so frequently, and since this is released, I'm like, okay, I like it, I think it's pretty, but I don't need it. But I realize I have more of a cool complexion, especially when I'm not self-tanned. So these shades, even like these more neutral, cool leaning brown shades, are just like, they look better on my skin tone. I'm currently panning the ABH Sultry palette this year, and at the end of the year I will declutter that palette, and I won't have a lot of like these tones in my collection. I love Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes and her formula in general, so I just felt like this made sense for my collection. Like, it's a palette that I could easily reach for every day. So I decided to pick that up. And then I obviously picked up the Yucca palette, which I think is the prettiest thing, you guys. I will say I am very interested in the Safari palette from Nomad Cosmetics. I am considering purchasing that, but I want to wait until I test out some of the other palettes. I have like 15 palettes that have come into my collection this year that I have yet to get around to testing, about 15. And by testing, I mean complete my testing. And by that, I mean use every single shade. And I'm just feeling overwhelmed, not only by my palette collection, but like testing all my new things. So I didn't want to get too of like the same color story. And this just spoke to me more. And I love Natasha Denona eyeshadows. So you guys, this is so pretty. Like, I literally cannot wait to use this. Obviously this like matte yellow really speaks to me, but these shimmer shades in this palette just look absolutely stunning. Even like this, like, it's just, I'm so excited, so excited. Never been more excited about a Natasha palette. So I plan to get around to starting to test that tomorrow. I'm very excited about that. I also made my first Moira Cosmetics purchase. This is the Fun is in the Air palette. I didn't realize Moira was like more affordable. I want to say this palette was like 18 bucks, and I could not deny this color story. I have been feeling so inspired by color, and bright, vibrant colors have been like speaking to my soul. So I really wanted to purchase this. My camera's washing it out, but like this is like a bright neon orange, and I literally cannot wait to put that on the inner corner of my eyes. So I purchased this. I'm also very excited about the matte neon yellow and this really beautiful cobalt blue, as well as even this purple. I'm so excited for this one as well. Definitely outside of my comfort zone, but very excited for this. I purchased the Scooby Doo Glamlite palette. I talked about this in my May beauty haul, but I'm like a Scooby stan. Like, Scooby Doo was my shit back in the day, and so nostalgia got the, like, I couldn't deny this. I'm still a little upset with myself I didn't get the makeup, or the like Mystery Machine makeup bag. I definitely didn't need it, but like, honestly, love me a good makeup bag. And the Mystery Machine aspect, that like they outdid themselves when it came to just like the branding of this entire collection. This is what this palette looks like. It looks absolutely beautiful. I will insert swatches so that you guys can see. I love the Glamlite formula, especially their shimmer like metallic shades. Oh, one of my nail polish right now is actually a shimmer shade out of the Glamlite Ice Cream Dream palette. So I might get around to, I definitely will get around to using some of these foiled shades as a nail polish as well, because I'm like living for this nail polish color right now. So super excited to get into testing that. And then we all knew I was gonna do it. I wasn't not gonna buy the Oden's Eye, the newest palettes from Oden's Eye. Oden's Eye makes my favorite eyeshadow formula in general, like whether it be indie or like mainstream brands. So their new like Jewels and Gem collection, this is the Jewels and Gem palette, this really stunning, really beautiful cool tone palette, which This released at a time that I was saying like I feel like I'm kind of over cool tones, but then I just keep wearing cool tones and buying cool toned things. But again, in person, this looks so incredibly beautiful. I need to swatch this, and I will include swatches as well, but I have a feeling when I swatch this, I'm gonna drool even harder. So very excited about that. And then we have another like green olive toned palette. And that is the Stone and Rock palette. And I do love me some green. Like this High Spirit shade, I have a feeling is going to be an absolutely stunning nail polish as well. I feel like since I started using eyeshadow as nail polish, it's like my nail polish collection has grown so significantly because I have, I'm sure, over 1,000 eyeshadows in my collection. Not all that would be like a good nail polish, but like my eyes are just so opened now in such a different light to some of the eyeshadows in my collection. I also think like the shade Cheerfulness would be an absolutely stunning nail polish. So we're gonna play around with this obviously on the eyes, but nails as well. Those are the 6 eyeshadow palettes I purchased this past month that came into my collection this past month. So that brings us to the exciting part where we get into the beauty bank and my purchases and my empties and where my beauty bank sits. And let me tell you, it sits in a very scary place right now. Okay, so we're gonna get into all the products that I purchased this month. If you watched my May Beauty haul, this may be a little bit repetitive, just letting you know. I'll also leave my May Beauty haul linked below in case you're interested in checking that out, but again, pretty repetitive. So when we started the month of May, I went into the month with 8 credits in my beauty bank. I purchased a lot in April with the Sephora VIB sale, so we had 8 credits. I had 2 lip credits and a half of a foundation credit, just considering my quarterly rules. And then I was allowed 2 bronzers. I didn't purchase a bronzer, but keep in mind I did bring in 1 bronzer through PR. So my bronzer bank will go down by a bronzer. I did say last month I wanted to be on a primer no buy for the rest of the year. And I still do. And I still think I can make my way. Like I'm almost done with one of my e.l.f. primers, and then I'm gonna move on to my last e.l.f. primer in my collection. And I do still feel like I can move like at least 3 more primers out of my collection this year. So I'm not like shaking in my boots in fear that like my primer collection is gonna be super out of control, but I don't want to purchase any more primers this year. Like I want to like hone in on my primer collection and empty some things out. But I did break my primer rule, and I did purchase the iconic London Underglow Blurring Primer. I heard Julia Adams talking about this in her top 3 in every category, and she's just so good at describing products in a way that make me want to buy them. So I decided to purchase this. Haven't yet tried this out. I do plan to do a testing new makeup, or like a get ready with me testing new makeup. So if you want to see some of these products in action, keep an eye out for that. And then I don't necessarily know that I'm going to constitute this as a primer, but this is a makeup product, and I don't like, I'll use it probably in like the same vein as I would a primer. This is the Say Super Gel, Glowy Super Gel. I have mine in the shade Sun Glow. I owned this in a mini in the like lighter shade, and I hated the product. I roasted that product. I would always talk badly about that product, didn't like it. So why I purchased this, I'm really not sure. I think it was Kyla Fish I heard talking about this product, and she had purchased this so that it would match her like body when she was tan in the summer. And I was like, oh, this could be similar to like the Drunk Elephant Debronzy drops. I want to give it a try. So I purchased it. And I will say I do really like it. For the same, like I use it in the same way that I use my Drunk Elephant Debronzy drops, and I just put it all over my face, and it gives me this beautiful bronzy glow. So I'm not mad that I purchased this, but I don't know if I like am counting that as a primer or not. Regardless, like literally so help me God, I cannot purchase another primer this year. Okay, where to go next? Should we just talk about foundations next? So when we get into my empties, you'll see that I did finish another foundation, which would have put my foundation bank at 1 foundation credit. Now I purchased 4, and I don't feel bad about it, and I think I'm gonna take myself off of a foundation no buy. Foundation is like similar to palettes in my mind. I like love to try new foundations. I just absolutely love it. But I think what I'm going to try and do, and I've started to already try and do this in the month of May, is I'm trying to cycle through my entire foundation collection, and like every time I make it through my foundation collection using each foundation in my collection at least one time, then I'll allow myself to purchase another foundation if I so choose, because I've found as I'm working my way through my foundation collection, I'm finding foundations I just don't love as much as I used to that I actually plan to declutter. I think I will post a declutter before the end of this month, and there's a couple of foundations slash tinted moisturizers that I am going to be passing along just because they no longer look good on my skin. I am getting older, as we all do, and things just aren't sitting the same. So even though I'm like technically like breaking my foundation rules, I think we're gonna get rid of the foundation rules for right now, unless it gets like insane. Like if I end up with like 40 foundations in my collection, then like, girlfriend, we need to reel it in and figure something out. But let me tell you what foundations I purchased now that I've talked about this for probably 2 minutes. I did purchase the NARS Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. I feel like this is like an OG staple. I feel like Jamie Page has talked about really liking this in the past. I love NARS. I've just really come to love NARS as a brand. Not everything works for me, but I just like the brand. I like trying things from them. So I wanted to purchase this. Now tell me why I purchased the shade Light Zero. So I'll likely be mixing this with like the Say to match me, especially as I am self-tanning and, you know, having fun in the sun. I have tried this a couple times. Didn't love it, but I think it was more like the shade. Like if a shade is too light, I also feel like it just accentuates all of the things I don't like about my face. So that could be part of it. Also, Julia Adams encouraged this purchase or influenced this purchase. It's the Iconic London Super Smoother Blurring Skin Tint. I've used this a few times and I'm really impressed. I really like that. It's a really lightweight skin tint, but it does really blur the skin. It's very beautiful. Then I repurchased the Dior Forever Skin Glow because it's one of my favorite foundations. Still works for me, still looks good on my skin. I know they've reformulated. I'm very curious to see what the reformulation looks like, but I've always loved Dior foundations. So that's a repurchase. And then I wanted to try something from Lancome. I feel like Lancome knocks it out of the park with foundations. Like I don't hear bad things about Lancome foundations. So I wanted to try the Tenti Dole Ultra Wear Care and Glow. Super excited to try that out. But those are the foundations that I purchased. Also from the Scooby collection, we can talk about, no, we're gonna save that for last because there's lip products in there. And I'm gonna save lips for last. Let's talk about a few eye products. I purchased the NYX Epic Wear Waterproof liquid liner in a cobalt blue shade. Because I love me a cobalt blue in the summer, and I just like have this vision of a very like bronzy, like actually just like bronzer in the crease and then a cobalt blue wing. I'll probably do it one time, as I mentioned in my May Beauty haul, probably do it one time and then never use this again. But I did purchase that. And then, oops, I also purchased the Fenty Beauty Flyliner in the shade in Big Truffle. This is a Kelly Gooch influence purchase. She was talking about this, raving about it at like the beginning of this year, I think maybe end of last year. It's just a really beautiful like chocolate brown liner, and I want to have more fun with wings. I want to try and lift my eyes because they're downturned and hooded, and I just want to lift them more. I feel like that's how I'm justifying that purchase. I did purchase another blush, but I don't feel like I have anything quite like this in my collection. It's from Laura Mercier. It is in the shade Fresco, and I heard Kyla Fish talking about this, and she said it was a glowy, neutral, like bronzy blush, and I was like, I'm sold. I'm absolutely sold. So I did end up purchasing this. I've used this a couple times. Love it. It is like just my jam when it comes to I love a bronzy neutral blush. I just think it's so pretty. It gives like Giorgio Armani perfume, like magazine ad vibes. Like, you know, when like the model's in like the white swimsuit and she's like coming out of the water, like that is the vibe it gives. So love it. I don't have a ton of setting spray left in my collection, so I purchased this from Youthforia. It's the Pregame Skin Moisturizing Setting Spray. The color of the packaging really drew me in. Haven't tried anything or heard of this brand, so that also kind of intrigued me. Also, the fact that it said it was skin moisturizing intrigued me, and when I heard the word Pregame, I was like, hell yeah, love it. So I purchased that. I don't know if I maybe have used that one time, maybe haven't used it at all, so still getting around to testing quite a few of these products. I purchased the Bare Minerals Bare Pro 16-hour skin perfecting powder foundation. I finally got around to testing my little like sample size of this. Loved what it did for my skin and was like, I need this in a full size. So I purchased it in a full size. And then Samantha March has been talking about the Lawless Perfecting Powder. And if Samantha March is raving about a powder, like a gal that's known for her powder reviews or just her love for the Dior Powder No Powder, like if she's saying a powder is like competing with that kind of, you know it's like, you know it's serious. So I decided to pick this up to see what I thought, because I also like the Dior Powder No Powder. Have also not gotten around to testing that yet. And then speaking of powders, I'm getting into Hourglass again. So I could not help myself and decided to purchase the ambient lighting palette. Looks like this. I just thought it looked really pretty, and I felt like I could use, I don't know why I felt like I could use this as a bronzer. I definitely couldn't, especially when I'm self-tan, but I've been really loving my Hourglass ambient lighting powder, and I'm getting closer and closer to finishing that. So I wanted to try this so that I could try like 3 of the powders in one palette, you know? Another eye product, I think it was Lauren May Beauty that was talking about this. It's from KVD. It's the Dazzle Stick, and I picked up the shade, I think it's Storm Surge, but here it says, oh, Hail Surge maybe? Anyway, mine's already wiping off the bottom. This looks so pretty. I definitely did not need to purchase this because I never reach for products like this, but when she swatched the Dazzle Sticks, I was like, oh my gosh, I absolutely need one of those. And I thought this was a really beautiful, like sparkly champagne sort of shade. I've been loving, maybe it's because I'm watching Lauren May Beauty so frequently now, I've been loving a sparkly eyelid. So I could not deny this purchase. And then we will get into, I purchased a few more products from the Glamlite Scooby Doo collection. I did purchase the blush duo. I had to have this specifically for this like juicy coral, bright, vibrant shade, but also the very trendy hot pink blush. The other day I swatched this and it is so pigmented. I'm literally terrified to put it on my cheeks, but I also can't wait because I think it's gonna be so pretty. Packaging 10 out of 10. Again, Glamlite crushed it when it comes to like the branding of the Scooby whatever. Okay, and then we will end with lips. As I mentioned, I was going to do 3 out, 1 in. My lip bank was at 2 lip products. So also from the Scooby collection, I purchased 2 lip products. I purchased the Daphne Lip Duo, which came with the Daphne Gloss as well as the Daphne Lipstick. The Daphne Lipstick is this really beautiful, just pink lipstick. I definitely did not need this duo. Absolutely didn't need it at all. I didn't need any of the stuff that I purchased, but like I absolutely did not need this. And it's not really a lipstick shade that I feel like I gravitate to it, but I feel like I felt in that moment that I was purchasing that I had to have the lip gloss because it was this bright shimmery pink. Kind of reminds me of Patrick Ta Do We Know Her, as well as the Pat McGrath. What is the Pat McGrath one I'm thinking of? Oh, I can't think of it, but there's another one from Pat McGrath. Although this one almost is like more shimmery. So I purchased the lip duo, which would knock my lip bank down to 0 again. But then I also purchased 3 other lip products. So technically I need to use up 9 lip products in order for me to get back to even with my lip bank if I follow my rules. So I couldn't not buy this, you guys. It's the Lawless Forget the Filler. There's a new shade, and this is in the shade Juicy Watermelon. This is one of my favorite lip formulas of all time, and when it was a hot pink, I was like, yep, getting that. There it is, swatched right there. It's not as vibrant of a hot pink on the lips, but that's totally fine with me, and I've used this a few times already and absolutely love it. And then you guys know I've been talking about just like a pop of like bright orangey on my lips, or just bright vibrant color on my lips. That's like something I'm very into right now. So I could not deny getting the Fenty Beauty lip stain in the shade Zesty Bestie. I've been into like an orangey red lip lately, so I had to purchase, I had to purchase this, you know? So I did. And then finally, another product I absolutely didn't need, this very overpriced lip balm, but I feel like I've heard like Jamie Page and Julia Adams rave about the NARS lip balms, and I felt like I needed like my perfect nude lip for the summer. I wanted like a balm because it's more comfortable. And again, love NARS. So there it is swatched right there. I got the shade Breathless. It's the Afterglow Sensual Shine lipstick. It looks really pretty on the lips. I do like it. Definitely didn't need to purchase it though, but alas I did. I don't know if you guys were tallying along as I was hauling all that stuff, but if you were not, I did end up purchasing 20 makeup products this past month. 20, yes. And I brought in one PR product, which was the Merit Bronzing Stick. So 21 total products came into my collection in May while we sat at a beauty bank of 8. So before we get into the empties, that would bring my beauty bank to a negative 13. I am a little ashamed. I don't think in all of my years of doing this project, my beauty bank has ever been in the negative by that much, but don't you fear. Don't you fear, because I do have quite a few empties to share with you, and I'm very excited about my empties as well. Okay, so I have been making a huge push to get use out of and finish off as many lip products. Mostly lip glosses is where my focus is at, or like lip balms, lip oils, easier things for me to like use on an everyday basis. I've been making a huge push for it. I've been going through my lip product collection, finding lip glosses in my collection that are like half full or that I've made really great progress on already, and really honing in on those and focusing on those lip products to move them out of my collection. So I'm gonna start with lips because I'm really excited to say that I have another 4 lip empties. So I needed to use up 9 total. So that means in the month of June, I need to use up at least 5 more lip products to like even my lip bank back to 0. But very excited that I have 4 lip empties to share with you. So up first, I have my Tower 28 gloss in the shade Cashew. I have taken the stopper out of this and I've scraped everything I can at the sides. There is, I mean, you can see a little bit of product left, but I've literally scraped out everything that I possibly can. I love the Tower 28 lip jelly formula. I will say these are fairly easy to pan. Like if you put your mind to it, you can pan these pretty quickly. If I am trying to pan a Tower 28 gloss, I usually have it with me at work, in my car, like I'm constantly reapplying. And I will say I almost always have something on my lips. Like when I go to bed, when I wake up in the morning, I put something on my lips. When I'm in the car, when I'm at work, literally I always have something on my lips. So it's making it, that's how I'm, you know, getting through some of these products. And then I also finished up another Tower 28 lip jelly, which I'm excited about because this one was definitely getting quite old in my collection. It is the shade Spicy, and I did really enjoy this shade. It was a really fun, really beautiful, kind of like popsicle red. Because of the formula, it wasn't like a super opaque, but it definitely was red, and it kind of gave the effect like you just ate a red popsicle. And I did finally finish that off as well. So 2 Tower 28 lip jellies will be exiting my collection. I have, this is a spoiler for my Rolling Project 10 pan, but I have finished off my Persona Peach Gloss. I again took the stopper out. This took me forever to finish. And I like the formula, but it's not something, it's not my favorite formula. Like I definitely prefer my Lawless, my Fenty, my Tower 28, my Kosas. So it's not something that I will be repurchasing, and I'm excited to move another gloss out of my collection. And then I also have a lip balm that will be leaving my collection, and this has been in my collection for so long. So I'm very excited to finally be done with my Kosas Lip Sport. This is it all the way rolled up. I am not going to go through the hassle of digging out the product. That is just not my jam. That's not my vibe. I enjoyed this, but I hated the shape of it because I felt like it was kind of hard to like distribute on my lips without getting outside my lip lines. And it was a little bit like the shade I had was pigmented as well. So this is not a repurchase for me, but I'm excited to move it out of my collection and have another balm empty as well. I feel like I've gone through quite a few lip balms this year as well, which is super exciting. Another exciting empty, because this is such a long haul product, but it was my Smashbox 24-hour photo finish shadow primer. This is an empty, and I'm super excited about this because, as I mentioned at the introduction, I am on an eyeshadow primer no buy. I did get an eyeshadow primer from my sister this year, so I do have still a good chunk of eyeshadow primer in my collection. I think I have 3 plus a glue, like a eye glue. eyeshadow primer glue, which doesn't sound like a lot, but like that feels like a lot because it takes like a year to go through an eyeshadow primer. So I'm very excited about that empty. I do have two mascara products. These I'm also trying to like get through my old, I have some old mascaras in my collection, so I'm like, I want to prioritize those because I had one from Ciate that was completely dried out when I went to open it, so I threw that in the trash. And then I have, you know, some old, I don't want them all to dry out. These ones from Chanel, I have the mascara primer as well as the Le Volume de Chanel number 10 Dior. These were really little, so these really just took like a month to get through. I actually really like both of these. I'm sure they're very expensive, but using this primer kind of made me want to purchase a less expensive mascara primer. I'm not gonna immediately go out and do that because I am on a mascara no buy, but I do have those two empties. I did also finally finish up my Benefit 24-hour brow setter. Feels like this took a long time to get through too, but I did end up taking the stopper out of this too, so I scraped out every last bit of this that I could. I didn't love this product when I started using it, but towards the end I actually really enjoyed this. I like the shape of the brush and what it did for hold in my brows, so I wouldn't immediately go out and repurchase this. I'm using the NYX brow glue right now, and I also like the ABH one probably better than this, but I mean, I wouldn't be mad if that like came into my life again. And then speaking of brow products, I also finished up the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. I do only have one brow pencil now left in my collection. It is the Benefit Goof Proof, which I don't love because it's a triangle tip, and I don't love a triangle tip eyebrow pencil I found. So I think I may, well, once I finish the Goof Proof, I'm definitely going back to a finer tip. And I would purchase the NYX one again just because it's less expensive. It has a really nice fine tip. It works really well. So I would purchase that again. But that is an empty. I also finished up my Iconic London Liquid Bronzer, which is so exciting for me. I'm so happy to have my first bronzer empty of the year. I am hoping to finish at least one powder bronzer this year as well. And I'm working diligently on finishing my Tower 28 Bronzino. I have it literally painted all over my body right now. I'm not using it on my cheeks because I don't love it, but I'm trying to find another way to get use out of a product that I spent money on, and I like it all over my like chest area and shoulders because it is like a glowy bronze, so I feel like it just like highlights everything. And I love that I'm finding a way to repurpose a product to get use out of it, and potentially if I use it enough this summer, maybe I would have a liquid cream and a powder bronzer at the end of this year. That would be a feat, let me tell you. Super sad to see this go. This is the Bite Beauty liquid eyeliner. This is my favorite like black liner I have ever used. I found it so easy to use. It didn't dry out. It was like really opaque, and it was just so easy to use. If you guys know a product similar to this Bite one, because obviously you can't get this anymore, Bite's no longer a brand, let me know. I will be curious to see how I like the NYX liquid liner, because then I would potentially purchase this in black, but I'm looking for a liquid liner because I liked the ease of use of this over like a felt tip pen. I loved this. I'm so sad that that's finally an empty. And then the final two products, as I said, I do have a foundation empty. I finally finished up my Oma Beauty Say What Weightless Soft Matte Foundation, and I'm so happy about this. This was way too light for me, even at my fairest, so I ended up just mixing this with foundations that were too dark for me. But I really don't love this on my skin anymore because I have drier skin. I like a glowier complexion. I like a healthy glow, a healthy finish. And I just felt like this looked really drying on my skin, kind of aged my skin. Even when I mixed it with like a glowier or like a more hydrating foundation, I just didn't love it. But I had already like used so much of this that I was like, I want to finish this up. I'm not giving up on it. I'm not going to declutter it. I'm just going to finish it. And I did. And I'm so happy about it. So another foundation empty for the end of the year, which makes me so benefit. I think I'm at like 4 or 5. I would love to have like 8 foundation empties. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know. We'll see. And then finally, I finished up the Benefit Professional Super Setter Setting Spray. I really liked this. If this was half off during a Ulta 21 Days of Beauty again, I would definitely purchase this. I actually prefer this to the Urban Decay All Nighter. I feel like this is less drying than the Urban Decay All Nighter, but still super long wearing. Right now, my long wearing setting spray is the Cali Ray Sunproof Setting Spray, which I also really enjoy. Although this smells like you know the smell of wet dog? Like that's literally what that setting spray smells like. So it's not the most pleasant scent. But this is my final empty. So we have, again, if you weren't telling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 empties, which makes me so incredibly happy because my beauty bank said 0. We're not negative. I don't owe the bank beauty credits, but I need to definitely work my way through some products in June. Or I could just do like a July no buy. I never want to end a month in the negative, just like as a challenge to myself. I would really like to never end the month in a true negative. So I'm happy to be ending at 0. Super happy to be ending at 0. Just to give you guys some like year-to-date numbers. Year-to-date, I have purchased a total of 47 makeup products. And I have either in PR, free gift with purchase, or me and my sister like trading makeup. I have brought in an additional 18 products on top of that. And then in terms of the number of products that I have used up, year to date, I have used up 48 products total this year. I would love to have over 100 makeup empties by the end of the year. That's always like a challenge or a goal that I have set for myself. 48 products. I think I will have no problem finishing up 2 more products by the end of June. I think I'll have more than 2 empties by the end of June, which would put me at the 50 plus mark, which is where I need to be in order to like be on pace to finish 100 products by the end of the year, which is, fingers crossed, hopefully the goal. I am literally out of breath. So that is gonna wrap it up for today's makeup rehab update. I feel like this was a long one. I've literally been filming for 50 minutes. Who knows how long the actual video will be, but if you guys made it to the end, thank you so much for sticking around. Would love to know if you purchased anything this month, and if so, what you purchased. Let me know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.